What was supposed to be a simple interview on Nightcap turned into a full-blown verbal war, and Claressa Shields might have just exposed herself more than she realized. Listen to this. What started as a normal sit-down quickly flipped into chaos, and it wasn't even subtle. From Shannon Sharpe challenging her boxing claims to constant contradictions, emotional reactions, and awkward back-and-forth moments, this wasn't a normal conversation. This was a breakdown in real time. And the craziest part? The more Claressa tried to defend herself, the deeper the situation spiraled out of control. Let's break down exactly how this interview went completely off the rails. So yeah, today we are talking to Claressa Shields. Today we are doing a recap of her appearance on the Nightcap because this was supposed to be a short appearance that had turned into an hour. You guys, your girl is tired. Nonetheless, basically Shannon Sharpe was trying to stand on business. Hold up. At times, I felt like I had disappeared. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't giving much commentary and all this and all that, but perked up at the end when it was showtime for him. Nonetheless, you guys, it was funny because there was a moment before Claressa Shields came on when Ocho's setup wasn't correct. The microphone wasn't hooked up, and whatever he had hooked up to his devices was supposed to work the light switch. But he basically said that his electricity bill would go up if he invested in an extension cord and used more plugs to power all the equipment. And Shannon is like, listen, look at here, Ninja, this is your job. Make it make sense. So that was the type of time that Shannon Sharpe and Ochocinco were more tonight. I already knew that Shannon Sharpe is trying to lay out what has happened. He's trying to lay out what took place. And he originally said this was supposed to be a discussion about who would win in the fight and that Riley was going to take Claressa. Claressa flipped the narrative and turned it into a sparring discussion, which pissed off Shannon Sharpe because that was not the original intent or the argument's original focus. And then we got into specifics and technical details about whether equipment will be worn. And Claressa is like, well, that's a different situation. I would have to prepare for that. No man is ever gonna hit a woman like that under those circumstances. And it's like, okay.
So now you're coming around to saying that Shannon Sharpe was right in his assessment that it is not going to be safe for you in any type of fighting situation with a man. That was the whole point. And then Shannon Sharpe was going in on how Claressa Shields, you can say amazing things about her. You can say she's a great boxer. You can talk about her undefeated record. You can talk about all of these things. And she focuses on the negative. She focuses on one thing and she cannot let it go. And we'll have 100 tweets, 100 Snapchat stories, and 100 Instagram stories about it. We'll argue with you about it in the comments. We'll even argue with you in the DMs about it too. She just refuses to let it go and turns everything into a full situation. Then Claressa Shields, you guys, when Shannon Sharpe was talking about how there are different rules and parameters in men's and women's sports and all of this, why did Claressa Shields say there is no gender in sports and sports don't have gender? No! But Claressa Shields' whole argument for why she believes she can beat men in the ring comes from the fact that she's been sparring with men since she was a kid. So that's her whole argument. But I'm here to tell you, a man's mentality is going to be, once he steps inside that ring, I'm not losing to Claressa Shields. That's the mindset. You know what I'm saying? And again, there were people in the comments saying they've trained with her, they've sparred with her, and coaches told them to hold back because it could get dangerous. It could actually be harmful for her because at the end of the day, that's still a man physically.
So then they pulled up footage of Claressa Shields getting dropped, falling a few times, and other moments. And Claressa tries to defend it, then pulls out a 2-minute video, and Shannon Sharpe is like, listen, look at here, I don't have time to be watching your iPhone screen of a 2-minute clip. You've lost your mind. And then Claressa Shields asked if they watched her biopic, The Fire Inside, where again, she talks about sparring. Right. So honestly, it was just wild, man. In terms of all the different conversations happening, Claressa Shields is basically claiming that since 2018, she's been dominant, hasn't really lost momentum, and hasn't been knocked around like that. But here's the thing, she also hasn't had that many knockouts either. She's only had 3 knockouts, right? And listen, they even brought up that moment when she got dropped by Hannah Gabriel, but she still clung to the fact that it went the distance and she ultimately won, right? So nonetheless, then the question gets thrown out there. Can you actually fight Riley in a real fight? How many rounds do you really think it takes for him to knock you out?
Like one clean shot and it's lights out for you. If he lands it, you're done, no debate. And all of this back and forth energy, you guys. But it was just wild, man, just watching everything go back and forth, and then Claressa Shields kind of confusing herself, asking clarifying questions, then forgetting what she was even mad about or what she was trying to argue in the first place. And then she admits that because boxing is literally her livelihood, she gets triggered when certain people give opinions on her boxing. But Shannon Sharpe clocked her immediately. Shannon Sharpe clocked her T when he basically broke down how different fighters will cut 20 pounds, gain 40 pounds, all of that just to move through divisions and grab different belts. And then he pointed out that Claressa Shields has basically stayed around the same weight her entire boxing career. There have been small adjustments here and there, but Shannon's main point was you haven't really had to drop or jump weight to beat anybody. So of course you're going to dominate your weight class when you haven't really had to go through those extreme changes. So it kind of explains why you're undefeated. But let's talk about the real conversation. Let's go down into the actual weight of competition where the other elite women are and have that same discussion. Let's keep that same energy across the board. And then here goes Claressa again, already dodging Shadisha Green because she's upset about that $100 million ESPN deal being announced, which now means Green already has a fight lined up. But Claressa Shields, you've got nobody to blame for that but yourself. You know what I'm saying? That whole messy situation that went down with the France Cruz fight, the rollout chaos, the lack of promotion for the opponent, the push and shove drama at the weigh-in the day before the fight that left her opponent beat up with a shoulder, knee, and ankle issue? No. So yeah, that was that whole situation. Then there was the question about whether or not Shakur is better. You know what I'm saying? Like how great he really is. And then Shannon Sharpe starts naming legends, bringing up Floyd Mayweather and mentioning all these all-time great fighters, asking if they are better than Floyd, are they better than the guys today? And Claressa Shields said no. But you previously said this was the best boxer ever, now you're saying give it 1 to 2 years. And of course, Claressa Shields had to throw in the colorism angle, right? Oh, you're only saying this because so-and-so is light-skinned and da-da-da-da-da. Then, oh, you guys, I gotta say, this feels like the climax of everything. The climax of this whole moment is actually officiating Gary Owen's second wedding, right? Because this is already his second marriage, he's stepping into it, right? So he's basically telling Claressa Shields that he's available whenever she and Papoose finally tie the knot. Is the divorce sitting in the room with us right now? Is the actual divorce decree in the room with us, you guys? And I'm not gonna lie, that felt like straight shade to me. I mean, I don't know, do you feel what I'm saying? I don't even know if you peeped that. And what's funny to me is I believe Ochocinco look is actually the same age as Papoose, but Papoose somehow looks closer to Shannon Sharpe's age. He really does look closer. He genuinely moves like a 60-year-old man, you know what I mean? He carries himself like he's already in his 60s or 70s. Ochocinco doesn't look a day over 35, and he definitely doesn't act like a man over 35 either. See, Claressa Shields, if you were paying attention, Ochocinco look was actually spitting game, but you just weren't trying to hear it. You weren't trying to hear it at all. You weren't even trying to entertain it.
You're out here naming a whole list of people supposedly wanting to officiate you and Paps. How is a church even considering officiating a wedding between you and a married man? I need receipts for that one. I need to know exactly which pastor said they would officiate your wedding with Papoose, because that same pastor should be rejecting it since he's still married to Remy and there's no movement on a divorce. There's no divorce decree, so make it make sense, you guys. That honestly floored me. So then they start talking about a potential sparring match between Claressa Shields and Ochocinco, allegedly set for April. We'll have to see if that actually happens. He said he wants a running clock, and Claressa Shields didn't even know what that meant. Like, there were so many moments when Claressa Shields looked completely lost, not understanding what Shannon Sharpe or even Ochocinco was saying, and honestly, it was hard to watch. Claressa didn't seem prepared with all the receipts, and it showed, right? It really showed. It was clear when she was hit with direct questions and examples, she kept backtracking and even forgetting half of what she had just said. Then it got interesting, because I don't think Claressa Shields even realizes how much Ochocinco has actually made. I think he's made over $45 million in his NFL career, but he hasn't really spent most of it.
And people try to say his net worth is around 15 million, but I don't buy that at all, because if you haven't spent most of your money, it's probably still sitting somewhere else, right? So I just think it's funny that Claressa doesn't really see Chad Ojo at all. She honestly doesn't see at all how he was trying to work his game. And from what I saw, Chad Ochocinco is not married to anybody and is legally single. He's technically legally single. He's got a lot of kids, just like Papoose also has a lot of kids. Chad Ochocinco actually built a real career. Papoose is not really on the same level. His career, you know what I'm saying, feels more like clout chasing off whoever he's currently attached to. Then Claressa Shields is back again, talking about how she's been trending, right? And how she's still the #1 topic online. And listen, that right there tells you everything. That's all she really seems locked in on, staying viral. She's actively looking for ways to keep her name circulating at all times. Then the schmoody conversation comes into play, right?
Talking about how she loves flexing that Bulgaria bracelet she claims is worth $90,000. And she was also showing off that $2,000 Gucci ring, talking like it's nothing major. And I think that same ring energy is what she allegedly got for her friends earlier too, those $2,000 pieces she was handing out. But then they pivoted and wanted Bud Shakur on the show and Andre Ward to stop avoiding Nightcap and pull up, you guys. So that's really the gist of it. I planned to expand this into a longer recap, but it wasn't necessary. It was a lot of circular talking, a lot of backtracking, and people doubling back on their own points. But basically, Claressa Shields, you know what I'm saying, she sees everything people say about her. She's chronically online. She gets triggered way too easily. And I just find it funny she only gets triggered when it's about boxing, but then crashes out online about Papoose. Make it make sense. So at that point, I'm gonna wrap this video up. If I missed anything or need to revisit something, I'll follow up. But I think I covered the main points from that hour-long chaos I had to sit through. And I also felt like Chad Ochocinco didn't really stand on business the way Shannon Sharpe did. He kind of stayed in the background most of the time, then popped out when it was time to joke about officiating Claressa Shields and Papoose's never ever ever wedding as long as he's still legally married to Remy Ma. At the end of the day, this wasn't just an interview, it was a full clash of egos, opinions, and people refusing to back down. Shannon Sharpe stood firm on his takes, Claressa Shields doubled down on hers, and now the internet is completely split in the middle. So the real question is, who actually made the stronger case here? Was this Shannon exposing contradictions or Claressa being misunderstood under pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is far from finished. And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because the next one might be even messier than this.